today we will discuss about the history of taxation in the Philippines.
During the pre-colonial era, the government were called barangays. There is no national government. It was headed by a ruler called Datu or Raha. Ancient Filipinos practiced paying taxes for the protection from their Datu. The collected tax or tribute was called buwis or hando. Spanish era. During the Spanish era, the government introduced a new income-generating means, Manila-Acapulco galleon trade, a ship trade going back and forth yearly between Manila and Acapulco. Fundamental income-generating business for the Spanish. The galleon trade brought silver and Nueva Castilla and silk from China by way of Manila. Polo y Cervico, forced labor, evolved within the framework of the encomienda system. 40 days of men ranging from 16 to 60 years of age who were obliged to give personal services to community projects. One could be accepted from the polo by paying the fee called fala, which was worth one of a half real. Pandala. System implemented by Spanish authorities in the Philippines that required native Filipino farmers to sell their goods to the government. Also collected were the mandala, a round of stocks of rice to be threshed, and annual and forced sale and requisitioning of goods such as rice. Encomienda system. In compliance with the decree issued by King Philip II in 1558, distributed land in Cebu to royal Spanish subjects. The encomienda was not actually a land grant but was a favor from the kind under which the Spaniards receiving his favor was given the right to collect the tributes or taxes from the inhabitants of the area assigned to him. The man who received this favor was called an encomendero. The encomienda was therefore a public office. The encomienderos were required by law to perform the following duties: to give protection to the natives, to give the missionaries convert the natives to Christianity, and to promote education. Tribute or buwis, which could be paid in cash or kind, was initially fixed at 8 reals, equal to 1 real is 12.5 centavos, and later on increased to 15 reals, apportioned as follows: 10 reals buwis is 1 real demos prejals, 1 real to town community chest, 1 real sanctorum tax, and 3 reals for church support. Custom deities and income tax were also collected. American era. Bureau of Internal Revenue was created through the passage of Reorganization Act number 1189 on July 2, 1904. On August 1, 1904, the BRR was formally organized and made operational under the Secretary of Finance. Internal Revenue Law, which codifies all tax provisions, the latest of which is embodied in Republic Act number 84-24, the Tax Reform Act of 1997. It amended previous National Internal Revenue Codes. A copy of the Tax Reform Act of 1997, which took effect on January 1, 1998. Local taxation is treated separately in this guide. However, special laws that separately provide special tax treatment in certain situations, the Philippine taxing system. Taxes that were collected are income tax, real estate tax, and license tax. World War II. When the Philippines was occupied by the Japanese, the Bureau of Internal Revenue was combined with the Customs Office in this become of the Customs and Internal Revenue Office. During the Japanese occupation administration in the Philippines, islands has imposed a special war tax. After the war, on July 4, 1946, when the Philippines gained its independence from the United States, the Bureau was eventually re-established separately. This led to a reorganization on October 1, 1947, by virtue of Executive Order number 94, wherein the following were undertaken: the accounting unit and the revenue accounts and statistical division were merged into one. All the records in the record section under the administrative division were consolidated, and all legal work were centralized in the law division. Marcos administration. The most notable programs implemented were the Blue Master Program and the Voluntary Compliance Program. Several tax amnesty decrees issued by the President were promulgated to enable errant taxpayers to start anew. Organization-wise, the Bureau had also undergone several changes during the martial law period. The Blue Master Program, which aims to curb the abuses of both of taxpayer in the Bureau of Internal Revenue personnel. Voluntary Tax Compliance Program was designed to encourage professionals in the private and government sectors to report their true income and to pay the correct amount of taxes. It was also during the Commissioner Vera's administration that the country was further subdivided into 20 regional offices and 90 revenue district offices. In addition to the creation of various offices which include the Internal Audit Department, replacing the Inspection Department, Administrative Service Department, International Tax Affairs Staff, and Specific Tax Department. 1970, providing each taxpayer with permanent tax account number not only facilitated an identification of taxpayers, but also resulted to faster verification of tax records. Similarly, the payment of tax through banks, as well as the implementation of the package audit investigation by industry, are considered to be important measures which contributed significantly to the improved collection performance of the Bureau. On September 24, 1972, the proclamation of the martial law marked the advent of the new society and ushered in a new approach in the developmental efforts of the government. The Bureau had also undergone several changes during the martial law period. Arroyo administration. During the Arroyo administration, BIR was transformed into a taxpayer-focused bureau. This was undertaken through implementing the change initiative that were directed to making the tax system simpler to suit the Philippine culture, to give BIR more financial and administrative flexibility, and transform the workforce to be more responsive to taxpayer needs by residing the human resources policies, systems, and procedures. Electronic filing and payment system, a technology-based system that promotes paperless filing of tax returns and payments, was adopted. BIR expanded their electronic services, which included web-based TIN application and processing, electronic receipt, invoice and raffles, e-payment gateways, e-filing of tax returns, and electronic submission of sales reports. Run after tax evaders, program conducted special operation on high-profile tax evaders. Aquino administration. After the People's Revolution in February 1986, a renewed thrust towards an effective tax administration was pursued by the Bureau. Operation Walang Lagay was launched to promote the efficient and honest collection of taxes. The adaptation of the value-added tax system was one of the structural reform provided for in 1986 tax reform program, which was designed to simplify tax administration and make the tax system more equitable. The Revenue Information System Service Incorporation was abolished and transferred back to the BIR by virtue of a memorandum order from the Office of the President dated on May 24, 1988. This transfer had implications on the delivery of the computerization requirements of the Bureau in relation to its function of tax assessment, and collection. The entry of the commissioners in 1987 saw the advent of the tax administration program, which is the embodiment of the Bureau's mission to improve tax collection and simplify tax administration. The program contains several tax reform and enhancement measures, which include the use of taxpayer identification number and the adaptation of the new payment control system and simplified net income taxation scheme. Ramos Administration. Action-Centered Transformation Program or ACTS were undertaken to realign the Bureau to its mission and vision. Also, the 5-year tax computerization project or TPC was undertaken in 1994. Computerized integrated tax system and internal admission system were also established. Estrada Administration. The implementation of the Economic Recovery Assistance Payment or the ERA program, one of the most significant reform measures, granted immunity from audit and investigations to taxpayers who have paid 20% more than the taxes in 1997 for value-added tax, income tax, and other percentage taxes. In 1999, the raffle promo called Humingi ng Resibo Manalo ng Libo-Libo was institutionalized. Large taxpayer services and excise taxpayer service were established under Executive Order Number 175. The BRR implemented a full integrated tax system rollout acceleration program which facilitated the full utilization of tax computerizations. Benigno Aquino III Administration. BIR focused on the filing of tax evasion cases under the rate program in compliance with the SONA pronouncement of the President. Closure of earring business establishments were continued under the Oplan Candado program. ISO certification of business registration process, renaming, splitting, merging, obligation, and creation of several offices. Organizational changes. Several new divisions were created under the large taxpayer services in the National Office Compliance section. Duterte Administration. Revenue District Offices nationwide conducted another tax enforcement activities on a regular basis. Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion or TRAIN Act per Republic Act No. 10963 took effect on January 1, 2018. The implementation of corporate recovery tax incentives for enterprises, Act per Republic Act No. 11534, which took effect on April 11, 2021. Tax Amnesty Program per Republic Act No. 11213 was implemented, recovering unpaid estate tax and tax delinquencies. BIR pursued a digital transformation program due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This program covered the automation of the Bureau's key internal and external processes.